welcome back to the conference. Now we will move on to our section in the afternoon. The agenda for this afternoon is to discuss the strategies on advocacy and social change. It gives me a great pleasure to introduce you Professor Isa Kiyosue, Associate Professor of Mongolian Institution of Technology, and also our speakers, Ms. Munkhsaruul, the Program Manager of the National Center Against Violence, Mongolia, Ms. Vannan, Founder for Center for Studies and Applied Science in Gender, Family, Women, and Docents, Mr. Suhala Lokman, Gender Advisor for Civil Society Organization, German International Corporation, Pakistan. Please help me to give them a very warm welcome.
So the service start, yeah? Okay. Hello everybody, my name is Isa Kiyosue from Japan. I work as the Associate Professor of Mongolian Institute of Technology, specializing in the gender legal studies. Also have been involved in many feminist and human rights activities and feminist movements. Today, this session will be the last one before the general symposium, the general discussion. Then focusing on the social change and advocacy, which will be the most important for us to improve our activities, possibly. Especially, particularly for the Japanese society, the theme of this session will be very important, as we have shown the kind of shame of the society yesterday, through the Japanese presenters. Today we have three presenters for this session. I don't know if I can pronounce the names correctly. Munkhsaruul Mijiddordj, okay, from the National Center Against Violence of Mongolia, which is the leading gender center and also support center for domestic violence the victims in Mongolia. And also we have a speaker from Vietnam, from the Center for Studies in Applied Sciences in Gender, Family, Women, Adolescents. It's so-called CSAGA, which is also one of the leading Vietnamese feminist organizations. And also we have Suhala Lokman from Pakistan. She has been working as the 14 years working experience in especially the gender development sectors. Now she's working as the gender advisor for civil society organizations of German international corporations. We can have the presentation from the, her name, Munkhsaruul first.
Hello everybody, good afternoon. So before I present my presentation, I just briefly inform about Mongolian situation. Mongolia locates in between Russia and China, landlocked country, and we have only 2,700,000 population. Comparing other Asian countries, we have small number of population. So just pass. Okay, so here I would like to share about brief history about first shelter house for women and children who is victim of domestic violence and sexual abuse in Mongolia. So our center, National Center Against Violence, was established in 1995, which is just after the socialist period regime was stopped and the democracy was just started. During that time, the women survivors, there was no place to go, no services to survive the violence. So at that time, Free Mongolian First NGOs initiated the first shelter house in Mongolia, and it was found in 1995 with a facility with 4 beds. At the moment, there was no shelters from the government and from NGO. Still present today, there is no shelters from government level. So our center conducts now a nationwide operation through our branches located in 16 provinces, which is in our country. In our country, we have 21 provinces, divided to 21 provinces, and our branches located in 16 provinces. And we have now operating 5 shelters. In Mongolia, only 5 shelters all from our centers. There is only 2 shelters for another NGO for human trafficking. And we provide direct services and policy advocacy, which means based on our services, we found address the policy level gaps and needs to change the law and policy. And so we, based on our service, we do advocacy and lobby work. So to achieve our mission and vision, we run 6 different programs, our organization. We have temporary shelter house network program. Now we call it network program. And I hope the next time this program will be national network, shelter network. So we have the child protection program, we have a local community development program, resource centers, legal reform program, and capacity building program as well. So the main activity of our organization, we provide temporary sheltering services to mainly victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse. And we do provide legal counseling and assistance, and as well as other shelters. It's like women accompanied with their children, so we provide child protection services. Also, the teenagers come us, and we provide social work services, hotline counseling, and advocacy and lobbying, as I mentioned, and awareness raising campaign events, and we also do provide methodological support, which means we run the training and workshops to law enforcement and social workers, teachers, how to access law, domestic violence law, and how to deal with domestic violence case, etc. So you can see this map. This is map of Mongolia country, and these all red flags is like our local branch. But it's not really like office, like nice office. This is more local activists voluntarily run same services at the local level. And we call it local branch, and it's like working as activists. And the small houses red, and they are our shelters. Shelter house we have in the Gobi, and north, east, and central. But actually, unfortunately, our 2 shelters in the local level, it's closed temporarily because of the running cost and because of lack of funding. Okay. So here, so you can see the statistics from since 2000 to 2010. The red line is number of our clients' children who stayed at the shelter house, and pink color is the woman. Yeah. Every year, the number of our clients who are children survive violence is big number, because of when women come to shelter, mostly they belong with 3 or 4 children. Yeah, that's why the number of the children is very high every year. So here, like our shelter service mapping, I will just explain very briefly. Of course, the same as other shelters, our purpose is to ensure safety and security and relaxation, empowering, and capacity building. And all the different legal assistance is provided, and social work services, psychological support, and as well as every services also together and child protection services at the shelter house. And of course refer to other informal and formal services. So when we started the first shelter house and first NGO on domestic violence in Mongolia, there was, as early mentioned, we just passed socialist period. So there was still existing men and women are equal in all senses in our society. This kind of propaganda was from socialist regime. And there was also strong criticism that group of people was like women imported this foreign issue. People understand when we talk domestic violence, people understand it's like kind of war. We don't have war, what are you talking about? What's the violence? It's like Nepal women's movement, like people all criticize us. Yeah. So, because of the socialist policy, the domestic violence was heightened and not addressed. There was no policies, no regulations, and any word about domestic violence, any word women's rights. And in that time, we started our work. So our advocacy first step was acceptance of all levels of society that domestic violence is prevalent, existing in Mongolian society, demanding particular solutions and interventions. Then we looked at the entry point from the government existing policies, like we pushed the government, we lobbied, and we did many advocacy work to make independent new law, new legal mechanism protecting victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse. And we aimed to expand our advocacy to step by step from the single word, which I mentioned, and sentence, and provisions and chapters in the independent legislations, and we amended existing state laws and policies. And as we provide direct services, we piloted some practice, and we introduced it to government level. This is, you can see, we can provide these services, etc. And we piloted policy and legal reform by reflecting the practice and formal legislation. These steps were slow and painful process. Most importantly, we ensured that our advocacy steps were consistent, determined, continuous, and progressive, thanks to multifaceted strategies and partnership between government and non-governmental organizations, and as well as media. So here's the list of our some advocacy action in events which is since 1995 we achieved to have the independent law and amended other laws. We conducted survivors conference 2 times, which is in 2003 we organized first survivors conference, survivors of domestic violence, and they made the recommendations, shared the experiences, and submitted the recommendation to government. We need this law. We need legal protection, etc. And we ran postcard campaign. Postcard campaign as like all survivors signed it, same postcard, and sent to ministry, prime minister. Same day, full 1 month, our prime minister received same cards from different survivors. And result of this postcard campaign, the law was amended. The government extended the amount of grant to NGO. So annually, 16 days activism, I think most of countries know this campaign. And we also do case-based lobby. If there is some serious case, we get permission from the parents or the family and do case lobby and make media and discussions on the case. So media campaign documentary film is also very influential to change the law policies. Discussions, election period is very important in Mongolia. Just before the new election, we reach to the new members of the parliament and we get their promise, but they make changes. And silence march, etc. So there's a pictures from our postcard campaign getting signed from the women to support shelter services, to get funds from the government. And this is the design of our postcard. The message is end violence against women. This is picture from our first conference of survivors. All survivors put the face mask like butterfly. And because of it was not time to open day. And this conference was open for media and there was any place to stand. Every journalist in that room was very full. And they shared all the needs, requirements to change the policies. This is the picture from the TV commercial, which is during the 16 days activism. All these men are not artists, they are just from street. We just asked them to join our commercial for this, and they all signed and they joined us, our campaign. So since the 1995, here's some list of our achievements. In 1999, the first provision on violence, the relationship at family sphere was reflected in family law, Mongolian family law. In 2002, the first time in history of our country, social service was subcontracted to our center by the government. This is for sheltering service subcontracted in 2002. But amount was small, just around 10 to 20% of the running cost for the shelter. But we just say it's our first step. 2003, the first Royals Conference, which I mentioned, and 2004, after around 10 years, the law on combating domestic violence was adopted by the parliament. During that parliament was male-dominated parliament, but we struggled a lot of things, and the law was adopted, but it was not comprehensive. But we said, okay, just adopt, it's okay. Later we can amend this law. 2005, we also lobbied to amend social welfare law. The first time the social welfare law stated right of domestic violence victims can access social welfare services. It was also first time in our country. In 2007 also, we did National Action Plan according to the domestic violence law. In Mongolian legislation, if there is a new law, there must be National Action Plan for the implementation. So you can see in 2004 the DV law adopted, but no action plan till 2007. So during the 2007, there was 10 years old boy suicided because of stepfather's violence. And we raised the voices, help of the family, and we pushed the government to make action plan. And so the action plan was adopted. In 2009, it was also a very successful history for our shelter history, which is a national standard, shelter standard was adopted, approved by National Standardization Authority, government authority. This standard is developed by our organization, we contributed, and now in Mongolia we have the sheltering standard. 2010, shelter running cost per person was calculated and presented to the State Social Welfare Department. and started financing shelter based on calculation, which means like it is not 100% finance, like just for the per time for the woman. For example, if from one district woman come from our shelter, she stayed 1 week. The district welfare agency provide money for 1 week, like reimburse the money cost. So, but we still challenge you for implementation because of some district welfare agency refuse to give money. They say, oh, she is not from our district, etc. But it is still ongoing. So currently our organization is now working to amendment of domestic violence law, which was not comprehensive in 2004, and now we're trying to change all this law. So since the 1995, which we launched, advocacy must be ongoing and sustainable, and lobbying to it really need to lobby, allocate shelter cost at the shelter budget, at the state budget. The state budget should be allocated this sheltering cost. So also the community-based survivor support group is more helpful, empower victims of violence against women. NGOs should ensure safety of their own staff members in addition to safety of clients. Because in the beginning, we only focus our client safety, client security, but during the early 2000s, we experienced some threat violence to our staff from perpetrators. And one of our shelter was burned, the window was broken, there was shoot to the window. So according to this threat, our organization developed safety code for shelter staff. Every shelter staff has to follow this safety code for their own safety. Because stalking is not crime in Mongolia. And our counselors, when they go to police, there's always stalking from perpetrators to stop court hearings, etc. So the last one is shelter staff always need to improve the capacity building and the skill building, providing support to our clients. So, I'm over.